I guess I'm woefully unprepared for this.
This goes out to the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all. What? Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. It's hard and it's a job for the challengers. What? Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers, a comics industry business podcast with Patrick Brower.
Actually, I think this is technically not an episode of Contest of Challengers. It is more an explanation as to why there isn't an episode of Contest of Challengers this week, even though this is being put out as if it was an episode of Contest of Challengers. It's not, though. Well, I mean, we'll see how long this goes. So there's a lot that's been happening in the comics industry this week, and new comics start shipping in just a few days, and we're back to ordering things. And in fact, I'm supposed to spend this weekend doing the April/May orders for July. I don't know that I'll get to it, which they're due Thursday, so that's not a good thing to say. But I'm having difficulty concentrating. As a follow-up to last week's episode where we talked about how I got hurt filming one of our dumb little videos. And at that point, when we recorded last week, it was 2.5 days later. Now it's 10 days later, and it is getting worse. Now, that's just how it feels. My leg is, in fact, healing. However, it's going to take far longer than I thought, or than even the hospital staff had said. It's possible that I'm going to be out of action for up to 2 months. And I can tell you that that doesn't make me happy for business reasons and for physical reasons, because being out of action is happening because it hurts. And it hurts enough that my days are not exactly fun. I think you can hear it in my voice. I think there's definitely a difference in the way I sound a week later. I've only been out of the apartment once this week, and that was to get a blood test. I had a virtual doctor appointment with my GP to follow up on how it's healing. And to describe the scene, my leg is swollen from my hip down to past my ankle. That is a long way. It is swollen enough that I can barely bend the knee. It's hard to put weight on it because it's also a giant bruise. It is a giant bruise from below the knee up to the hip, and then it's all bruised around the ankle and the shin area. It almost completely encircles the leg as well. And the parts that are bruised the most are healing very hard. It's calcium is building up inside the muscles, and that's a thing that'll stay for a while. With an injury this large, it takes a long time for the swelling to go down and for all the blood and the released fluids to be absorbed back into the leg. And I was under the impression of, like, you know what? I'm going to have 5 bad days, 5 okay days, then I'll limp for a while. It's the other way around. There were 5 okay days and then 5 bad days, because as the swelling is still there, I can't put weight on anything, and as it is basically a giant bruise, anytime you move and the blood in your body shifts, it causes more pain. Now, I'm laying down right now, and that is when it's the most comfortable for me, but also getting back up from that point is the most painful, because your leg was flat or elevated. I was elevating it for a while. Now I've altered what I'm doing, but when that foot lowers back to the floor and all the blood rushes down, that's the most painful. Sitting down or sitting in the couch or a chair was okay, but you'd have to prop your foot up And depending on the height, like if it's not the perfect height, then you're going to be putting extra pressure on either your ankle or your thigh where it's coming off the chair. And after a few minutes, it's like, oh, this is not great. Laying down, even though it's the most comfortable, it's not, because human bodies aren't made to lay down 24 hours a day. Mine is barely made to lay down 8 hours a day. So after 8 hours, my back is like, hey man, you need to get up. And then you try to get up and your leg's like, hey man, you need to stay on your back. So it's a very conflicting point where I'm getting all sorts of mixed messages from my body and nobody is winning. And you can see changes in the bruising. There's a few people listening who have actually seen a photo or two. I'll say it's horrific. It's not like it's a mangled flesh with skin falling off and visible bones, but it is a bruise that is the size of a small child. And the hematoma that's in it was, we talked about it last week, it was 25 centimeters by 14 centimeters by 4 centimeters. I didn't do the point measurements because I don't remember them. So it's not small, and it just takes a long time for that to reabsorb. My doctor this week told me that it's possible it'll take me up to a year to be back to where I was at the point before the accident. Now, I'm going to not focus on that, but it's 2 to 3 weeks of swelling, and I'm only at 10 days. And I guess I'm woefully unprepared for this. When I was leaving the hospital, they offered me a prescription of Norco or Tylenol 3. And Norco makes me dizzy. It messes with my head, and I don't like taking it because I don't like being in pain and dizzy. And I didn't realize Tylenol 3 was the prescription kind, not the over-the-counter kind. And I thought, I have Tylenol. I personally don't like Tylenol. I like ibuprofen over acetaminophen, but in this instance, I was told, don't take ibuprofen. That's the opposite of what you need. So it's been mainly drug-free, and I don't like it. Dal has been great. He bought me a pair of crutches. I had a single crutch, but it was old, and the pads smelled really bad. Really bad. Like I sacrificed a t-shirt and wrapped it over the shoulder pad and the arm brace, but you could still smell them, and I needed to. So he bought me new crutches, and he bought me really expensive CBD lotion that did nothing. And when I say really expensive, I mean this tiny little vial cost more than the crutches did. CBD has been recommended by people, but this lotion, which is only 250 milligrams, doesn't work. And while there are other options available, I don't have the ability to go get anything because I really can't maneuver very well. And you know what? I thought I'd be better on the crutches than I am. I thought I would be able to navigate them better, or that I'd be a little more fluid on them. Maybe it's because I haven't used crutches in a very long time. Maybe it's because they're brand new, but maybe it's just because I am extra worried about doing something that'll push me off balance or make me fall. There have been a couple of points where I didn't lift it high enough and it catches on a throw rug or what have you. In the interim, Dal has been doing everything at the store. He's had to go in every day. I'm still handling the paperwork stuff that I can. I was able to break down the invoices this week. I was able to do the banking and pay some bills. But really, it's in short bursts. Like I should have already done the FOCs for Blue, but I didn't. I didn't do them yet. I have till Monday. And I keep saying, don't worry, I'll need a couple days to do the orders, but I'll get to it, but I can't do it when Dal's at the store using that computer. So I can remote in from home, which is how I always do the ordering. But Dal's been filling everybody's order, answering everybody's emails, packaging up everybody's mail order, handling everybody's curbside pickup. He has been amazing during this, and even now, right before I recorded, he texted to see if I needed anything from the store, or he's always making sure that I am looked after. And he even, my birthday is next month, he even got me an early birthday present. He got me a new desk chair for my office at home. And the chair that I had at home was fine. It was a fine chair. It's still a fine chair. It'll get used, but the one he got has like 5 inches of padding, and it's an extra wide base, and it's much more conducive for me being at the desk while I'm recovering than the other chair. No matter what, any chair I'm in, as my leg comes off the end of it, it feels like I'm sitting on wood, and the wood is digging into my the back of my thigh. And that pause was me shifting my leg because I can't stay in the same position for too long. And this chair is marvelous, and it weighs so much, and he had to bring it all the way up here and then build it for me. And it was such an ordeal, but that is how good of a friend and business partner he is. And I also want to give a special shout out to Drew and Ashleigh, who not only are they Patreon patrons, they came in yesterday and finished a task that I had started before my injury. And to be fair, I'd only done a quarter of it, and they did the final 3/4 of it. And that is replacing all the old window shades we used to have, those white rollers that we bought that my brother and I put up before the store opened over 12 years ago, that weren't exactly sized right, but they were like $15 per window. So we're like, all right, we'll take these. But we were able to buy shades that were, well, we talked to a shade guy last year. We were going to have a professional come in and put in shades, and he was a lot more expensive than we expected. During this downtime, I thought, we could do this ourselves cheaply, but, better than $15 per shade. And you can custom order blinds to whatever length you want. So the shades were mounted on the inside of the window frame, but these blinds are mounted on the outside, so they cover the whole window, and they go to like a 1/2 inch to 1 inch over the frame of each window, and that will block more light and, which is the most important thing for us over the summer, more heat. As you know, Challengers gets to be extremely warm in the summer, even with the AC full blast. That setting sun in those 12 double-paned windows just bakes us alive. So these blinds now have the potential to block a lot more of that. We had a long discussion back and forth because Dal doesn't like the look of blinds when they're down but open, so he would want them up most of the time, and I'm okay with them being down and open. I would rather just be able to turn the bar and have it to shut out the sun when we need to, and then have them open so you can see through them and not be an eyesore. And we experimented on sidekicks. We did sidekicks first because if we didn't like it, sidekicks is separate enough that we could think of it as its own entity and not have to worry that its window treatments don't match everything else. But I did those. They came out okay. Actually, I liked them. And these are cordless blinds, so you just pull them down and push them up. And once they were up and we agreed that we liked them, we ordered the rest of the blinds. Then I got hurt. And my brother had offered to come down and help install them, and I told him yes, but when I was ready to be there with him. But then Drew and Ashleigh had volunteered to do it, and Drew had said, look, you already did the template room. We'll just look at what you did, and if we need to, we can talk to you on the phone while this is going on. And they came in and they knocked out all 9 windows in like 4 hours yesterday, which is amazing. And we had only one phone call, one FaceTime discussion so I could see how it was going. But even the things that I'm like, oh, wait, I forgot to tell you about this. And they're like, yeah, we already thought of that. So they were totally on the ball. And yeah, thank you guys so much for doing that, and that's hopefully going to have very positive side effects in the future. And we've been talking to our landlord about the future, and there's things that we want to do. We've always wanted new carpeting for a long time. Our lease is up next spring. We don't want to put new carpeting in if we're not going to stay, but of course we want to stay. But B, the store leaks. The store leaks bad. Like this week with a lot of rain, so much flooding happens under the front door, and you can see how stained the carpet is, and I don't even want to know how much mold is under there. But also the alley window where we keep the boxes, the comic boxes, the magazine and half-size and full-size boxes, leaks all the time as well. And at the start of quarantine, it had leaked, and we lost a bunch of boxes. So luckily, I had taken everything out of there, gotten rid of what we couldn't save, and I'd worked up a plan on how to not fix it, but how to prevent it from damaging all of our stuff. But again, that happened pre-injury. The supplies that I ordered came in earlier this week, but it requires me being on a ladder, and I don't know that that is a thing that'll happen for a while. Plus, it's not a fix, it's a workaround, and we'd rather have it fixed professionally. And we have had, through the different building owners, we've had a lot of people come out. I want to say like 5 separate times. Builders come out and look at it and see what the problems are and work on it and say, yeah, it's good. And over the years, they've fixed some of the leaks in the middle windows. But this week, it wasn't even hard rain. It was just a lot of rain. And that's when it comes in. And Dal said that it was as much rain, as much water as comes in normally anyway. So we need to fix that. And there's a lot of things that I personally need to be doing for the store that I'm not able to do at the moment because I can't concentrate for long enough periods of time. Even yesterday, when I was gonna FaceTime Drew, Dal's like, "Hey, can you FaceTime?" I'm like, "Yeah, give me a few minutes," because I had to get ready for it. I can't just do it. Too much is involved. There have been things outside of me complaining about myself, which, spoiler alert, I'm going to keep doing for a while because it's the first thing on my mind. And I'll admit I'll have some dreams where I'm not injured and I wake up right away and I'm like, oh, God damn it. What? Immediately. Because also, I can only lay on my back with my leg propped up, and I'm a side sleeper. So sleeping on your back is torture. And I can't roll to my left side because of my right leg, and I can't roll to my left side I can't. So, uncomfortable sleeping. My Fitbit tracks my sleep, and even though I'll be in bed for up to 12 hours, I'll get maybe 6 hours of sleep, and that is not a good percentage. That is not a good ratio. Many people have reached out and asked what they can do. I wish I could tell you. I wish I had an answer. I don't. Like, if you have any pain relief remedies, let me know, but it can't be something like, oh, you should see this acupuncturist, because I can't go to this acupuncturist right now. Anyway, this is the week that I don't want to get too much into this because Dal's not here and he has thoughts on the matter as well. As a matter of fact, he texted me a photo of his, I'm just going to say, list of grievances from DC Comics for this week. How they've made his life so much harder in an ability to, with the auspice of, oh no, we're making life easier by having books still be out there. But it's not. It's much harder. And there's technological reasons why. And then there's a new initiative that Steve Jeppe from Diamond Comics has started called Back the Comeback. And I'm not looking at it, but their phrase is, our comeback will be better than our, downfall or whatever. And it's the old Comics Code Authority symbol or stamp logo with new fonts inside and new text. And I'll admit I have a soft spot for that. I have a Comics Code Authority t-shirt and a Comics Code Authority enamel pin. I also don't expect it to be a thing that matters to most current readers. I think that the majority of our customers will have no idea what the Comics Code Authority was, why it was there, and nor should they. If you're someone that likes reading Saga, you don't have to know about Dr. Frederick Wertham and Seduction of the Innocent and all the congressional inquiries into the deviancy of comic books. That doesn't matter to you picking up a copy of Farmhand off the shelf and thinking it's neat and reading it and liking it. So it seems that this initiative is targeted to kind of the wrong people. And my brother, George, sent me an article that came up in his feed about the same thing, about, hey, this money from these t-shirts goes to support retailers. It doesn't say how. And he said, do you think this is actually something that'll trickle down to your store? And I said, first of all, I am Team Comics for life. That is never going to change. I'm always going to be a diehard supporter of the medium of comic books, and as an offshoot of that, a supporter of the comic book industry, pointing out where it could do better, but acknowledging all the good that it's done. And then secondly, I do like the imagery of that shirt. I do not agree with anything it's saying. I don't think our comeback is stronger than our leaving. Just the amount of hoops that it's taking to jump through and the way the product is being slowly rolled out, that doesn't bode well for a strong comeback. It's a trickling comeback, which is what we need. I'll be honest. It's very hard to look ahead at 2 weeks worth of Diamond bills knowing, oh, we're not open to the public, yet we have 2 bills to pay, 2 weeks worth of bills for 2 stores before people can even set foot in the store. And that's even if the stores open on June 1st, like they're supposed to. Spoiler alert, I have an that's not a spoiler alert. Why did I say spoiler alert? I have an orthopedic doctor appointment on Monday, June 1st. So I guarantee you one of the stores will not be open that day because I'm not missing that appointment. It's funny how things get put in, not into perspective, but how your focus shifts. And while everything in the business is still extremely important to me, I just can't focus on it now. I have to be able to separate it from the things I need to do to hopefully get better. And I'm sure soon enough I'll be climbing ladders and falling off of things and getting hurt in the store again. The joke of this is that I had told Dal that I've done a lot of dumb, reckless physical things in my life, but in the past couple of years I've toned it down and I don't take as many risks as I used to because I know there's a chance of something going wrong and an injury that takes long to recover from. The injury that I sustained last week wasn't even in consideration. It wasn't, I never thought like, all right, well, this is going to be dangerous. You have to be careful. No, I was just running by and knocking some turtles off of a table. How is that going to go wrong? It wasn't even like, oh no, we anticipated a crash and no, I thought I would stop a foot after the table. Didn't though. And if you really listen to the end of that video, I let the recording go, so you hear me hit the wall. And that wall is grid wall on metal hooks, on metal brackets. The metal brackets attached to the wall, grid wall placed on the brackets, and 4-inch metal hooks coming off of the wall. And it's the hooks that broke my fall and gave me all these delightful bruises in all sorts of different places. See, I can turn anything back around to talking about me, because honestly, it's what I'm constantly thinking about. Again, thank you to the friends that have reached out and who are checking in and just letting me vent. That is kind of what this whole episode is letting me vent and also explaining why this isn't a real full episode. And who knows, maybe Dal and I will record something later this weekend. He told me, he's like, you should just skip it. You should just let it go. You should not worry about it this week. But I feel a sense of obligation to do it. And also, it's a time in the industry where we're starting back up and people need to be able to hear from us. So, to reiterate, books start coming out this Wednesday. If you are a subscriber, please tell us by Tuesday that you want your books, and we will send you an invoice for your books that you can pay for. And then we still have very generous helpers delivering for us this Wednesday. We didn't have any last Wednesday because, well, we had to postpone them because of me. But we have plenty of people that want deliveries this week, so we have people delivering. It won't be Dal and I, but it'll be better people than us. And I don't know how many. I don't know how many deliveries. That is a thing Dal's working on. We will also be able to have the curbside pickup where if you're a subscriber, we'll send you an invoice, you pay in advance, pull up out front, call and say you're here, we'll put the books out on a table. Great. If you are not a subscriber, everything will be available on our web store, our Shopify store, challengers-comics.myshopify.com. All of the week's books will be available on Wednesday. You buy them online, you pick how you want them. Unfortunately, they won't be available for delivery that Wednesday because we need to set the routes the day before. But you can still do shipping, mail order shipping, USPS priority mail shipping, and curbside pickup, or you can wait and have your books delivered the following week. So we're doing everything we can to get you the books. We have new masks. We had masks that are available on our web store, and we don't like them that much, but they do work, and they are Challengers related. They're back in black and white, and we're going to have a new merchandise item very soon to put up, which is strictly a fundraiser for Challengers, but it's done by a comic professional. It was him coming to us and saying, "What can I do?" And Dal saying, "Hey, what about this?" And then the three of us art directing this idea, him reaching out to a bunch of other comic creators, us reaching out to some creators to have a pretty fun piece of merch coming up. We'll talk more about that when it exists. And we got some masks for the store and for our people, handmade by Susie over from First Aid Comics in Taylor, on Taylor Street in Chicago. She made Challengers red masks with the white C logo. They're all handmade and they came out great, and she did it super fast. And she ironed vinyl C's onto all this material, ordered special red material for us. She was like, it may take me till June. She dropped them off yesterday. Amazing. They came out great. We're very excited. We don't know if those will be for sale. We just want to keep them for our employees. To be honest, we haven't even talked to our employees to see if they're coming back or if they want to stay away, which they're welcome to do. But we want to make sure everybody's protected. We have a hand sanitizing station. The old tape station is now the hand sanitizing station. A word of caution: it is a very thin consistency. We bought gallons of hand sanitizer from Chicago Distillery, and it is very effective. It is 80%, but it is as thin as water. So it is a giant pump bottle, and there's signs on the bottle and on the table that say, please pump softly, pump slowly, because it comes out like water, and if you just jam it down, it's going to splatter everywhere. It's very effective. It's a good quality, and I'm glad we have it, and I'm glad we were able to get it from someone in the neighborhood and a business that was able to take a hardship and turn it into a way they could help the community, because they're not distilling alcohol at the moment. Well, they are. They're just turning it into hand sanitizer. So we got a bottle from them a few weeks ago and liked it enough that we went back and got more. So we'll have a hand sanitizing station. You will have to have a mask on to come in the store when the store is open for business. If you do not have a mask, we will have disposable masks available for you to purchase at $1 or $2 a piece. I'm not sure. Those are just to recoup our costs and just to let you browse. We don't want to take the chance of anybody getting anybody sick. We will have a new plastic plexiglass barrier in front of the counter. We will be we're not going to put stickers on the floor because we don't want all the really good social distancing stickers and appliques for floors are for wood floors or cement or tile. And we don't want adhesive on carpet. It's just going to get kicked up. And even if we tape our own things down, they'll come up right away. So we'll be verbally enforcing social distancing and asking people to keep, a fair distance. We think we could have like 10 people in the store at a time without it being too crowded and affecting people. We're not going to let people sit down and read or browse like they used to because it's no loitering. We might even have to put the chairs up and out of the way just for the time being. But we're as ready as we can be, especially when there's only one of us. So be super nice to Dal when you deal with him, if you deal with him via email, via curbside pickup or whatever. That dude is keeping the stores opened by his sheer force of will. So thank him. I thank him. He's doing great, and we'll get through this. And we're looking forward to being open, and I'm looking forward to a point where I can be back in the store. That is my goal for the summer. Man, I hope it's soon. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics.
You will. I hope you will.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155.
And in the River North neighborhood of Chicago at 750 North Franklin Street, number 103, 312-285-2252.
Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.